Hello, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency traders. A lot has happened since we last checked in 2 days ago. We're watching to see, are our weekly higher lows being set after that little 2-day dump where a lot of fear returned to the cryptocurrency space in a short period of time. I'll show you what time frames I need to see the bulls prove it on to be confident the weekly higher lows are established and how I personally plan on trading it. So before we get into the technical analysis, if you have been watching this channel, you know I am always talking about correlations because I'm always at the computer watching the stock market, watching the cryptocurrency space, and they often link up and can give clues to each other. So I'm going to give 2 examples in the past 2 days when there has been fear in the broader market and how that has linked up the correlation with Bitcoin. It is not a coincidence that we are seeing the first weekly consolidation in a few weeks on SPY, the cryptocurrency space, the marijuana sector. It's all happening at the same time because we are correlated amongst all these sectors. So looking at Bitcoin, this is the 15-minute time frame. Is my head in the way? Maybe. Nope, it's not. So on the left side, yesterday, 15-minute time frame. On the right side, we've got Bitcoin. On the left side is QQQ. I've been watching the tech sector volatility more than the S&P 500 recently because it's been way more volatile with a lot more movement there. So we had a dump in the first 15-20 minutes. We hit the low of the day on the second candle. We had a significant bounce. We topped out at 11 a.m. So here that is on Bitcoin. Here's 9:30, big red candle. Here's our low at the same time. Here's our bounce at the same time. Here is our pullback from that bounce at the same time. And then we can get clues because QQQ headed back to the high of the day and Bitcoin faded back down. And it did end up recovering a bit, but it showed us for a period of time a bit of a bearish correlation. Today, Bitcoin on the right side here. So again, it's the bell ringing at 9:30 a.m. where these correlations sync up. And we had QQQ struggling. We hit the low of the day on QQQ at 10:10. We then bounced for 20 minutes. The low of the day on Bitcoin was at about 10:23. And then we had 15-20 minutes of bounce. QQQ then gave us a little 5-minute bull flag into a new high of the day. And Bitcoin gave us a very quick little bull flag into continuation. The point being, QQQ showed us the bulls were showing up 13 minutes before Bitcoin found a bottom. And we have traders in the chart, guys, in the chat room that entered Bitcoin based on QQQ, and it ended up working really well for them. And that was a $1,600 move. It didn't have a ton of follow through, but $1,600 in less than an hour is certainly an opportunity. Keep an eye on the correlation. Right now, fear is being alleviated from the broader market the last 2 days. We're seeing solid bounces, and it is not a coincidence that Bitcoin is bottoming out, at least temporarily, at that same point in time. So here's Bitcoin on the daily time frame, inside bar today. So we know this inside bar is very likely to form with 5 hours left, 5.5 hours, and a very wide range on yesterday's candle. Let's go a little bit back in time. Last we checked in, we had a significant dump, we had a significant bounce. I was talking about how I was going to exit all of my ETH bounce position on the 4-hour lower high, and then we were anticipating a 4-hour higher low was the most likely scenario due to the size of this bounce. We ended up dropping straight to a lower low. If you are going to see the less likely scenario play out on a very volatile range, you have to see increasing volume. Whether it's a bull break, V-shape to all-time highs, or a straight drop to lower lows, increasing volume has to happen for that to happen. And we did get increasing bear volume and a drop down to a new low. I was fortunate enough, I'll go over my trades later. We'll go through the whole thing and then I'll go over how I've been trading this and how I plan to trade it. But we dropped to a lower low, we then bounced around, and once the bell rang and stocks closed yesterday, that's when the Bitcoin bulls woke up and shifted momentum. So 4-hour time frame is now trying to change the trend. We have our low of the pullback, high of the bounce is a 4-hour lower high at 51.4K, and now we're looking for a 4-hour higher low, anything above 44.9K. Look at the EMA 12 resistance rejecting the price. We have a lot of space for the 4-hour higher low to form if we can change the 4-hour trend bullish. We zoom out and we scout a daily lower high, anything under 58,000. So if these bulls are going to set a weekly higher low, it's very brief weekly consolidation at this point. We did break the low of last week, but certainly still an uptrend, EMA 12 support. If we're going to be a weekly bull flag again, like we were the last time, bulls need to change the 4-hour trend, they need to bounce, and if we do set a lower high, they need to then set a daily higher low and change the daily trend back to the bulls. And I shouldn't say change it back to the bulls, I should just say just form a higher low and higher high. Because right now with the daily time frame, it's a bit ambiguous as far as, did we lose the last higher low? We didn't really have any clear base of support for a last daily higher low nearby to be going off of. But again, this is just the zoom out game. We start on the hourly time frame. Can the bulls change the hourly trend? Yes. Okay, we zoom out to the 4-hour. Can the bulls change the 4-hour trend? If yes, okay, we zoom out to the daily lower high. Can the bulls change the daily trend? All of those things have to take place. One possible scenario is, number one, the bulls fail to change the 4-hour trend. That would be a bit of a red flag. Number two, if we change the 4-hour trend, set the daily lower high, and then drop to a lower low, confirming a daily downtrend. That would be another red flag. We would still be looking for a weekly higher low, anything above 28.7K, but the weekly bull flag would go out the window if 44.8K, the current low, breaks. Simple if-then statement. If 44.8 thousand holds, then it's a possible weekly bull flag. If that level breaks, then we are not likely seeing a weekly bull flag. Why did we drop this morning when we got news that Michael Saylor and MSTR added more Bitcoin? Why did we drop? Because it was a known news event and it was already priced in. As soon as you get that news, we already got the news. The good news was, hey, we're raising $1 billion to buy more Bitcoin. Because then the market says, okay, we got another $1 billion of bid support and buying to help sustain the price. As soon as you get that news today, that buying is done. There's no more buying support. So we know Michael Saylor and MSTR are bullish Bitcoin. That's no new information. If it's a new company telling us that they bought $1 billion, that adds legitimacy to Bitcoin. That gets headlines. At this point, it's just crazy old man Saylor buying Bitcoin again. And again, his buying pressure is now used up. So the market responded to that with a pullback. We need new companies coming in. It doesn't hurt, obviously, but the better headlines will be new companies coming in, adding more legitimacy. Because right now, with Musk and Saylor, there are still skeptics that can say, oh, those are just some crazy CEOs. And the more and more new names that pile into that boat, the more legitimacy it gains. So for Bitcoin, we need a 4-hour higher low to be established. Right now, I'm watching for an hourly lower high, anything under 51.3. If these bulls are going to set a 4-hour higher low, we need to top out on this hourly bounce, hold the low of 48.5, and confirm an hourly trend change. That would give us a 4-hour higher low being set, and we would be looking back to the high of 51.4K to try and change the 4-hour trend. The dominance chart is still doing nothing, just sideways. So again, from a broader perspective, it's not giving us any information. So we have to zoom into individual coins to see where they stand comparative to Bitcoin, because some are stronger and some are weaker. But the dominance chart as a whole, uneventful for the last week plus. ETH USD, daily inside bar as well. Everything that I just said for Bitcoin is the same for ETH. The difference is the bulls have way more space to work with to set this 4-hour higher low. Look at where we stand right now and look at our low. We have 17% of space before we drop back to the low. Bitcoin, before we drop back to its recent low, has something like 9% of space to work with. 9%. So that's a very big difference. Why did we get a bigger bounce? Without even looking, I know the ETH BTC chart has been bullish over the last 24 plus hours. And there's that bounce. And that is why I chose ETH on this bounce, because the 4-hour RSI was crushed. And this bounce on the BTC pairing, the oversold bounce on the BTC pairing happening at the same time as the oversold bounce on the US dollar pairing, means that is the better place to be to play the bounce. So ETH USD, what do we need for the 4-hour higher low to be set? An hourly trend change back to the bulls. If we get a little bit more bear follow through, we'll have a new hourly lower high at 1677, and it's then up to the bulls to hold the low of 1590, confirm an hourly trend change, and you could call this a little 4-hour bull flag if that is our 4-hour higher low. It's entirely possible we drop down under 1590 and keep this pullback going, but I'm watching for that potential 4-hour bull flag scenario. I'm being patient. Right now I'm all cash. I'll talk about that a bit more at the end of the video when I go over what I'm personally doing, but I am interested in potentially making some re-entries for a 4-hour higher low. So ETH BTC has cooled off the 4-hour RSI, and we're just looking for a daily lower high to be the result of this bounce. We know we need a clear daily trend change back to the bulls for a weekly higher low to be set, and I would not be surprised to see a weekly equilibrium form within this very wide range. But daily trend change needed, and before we even look to a daily trend change, we need to top out on the bounce and set a lower high to try and change the daily trend. Litecoin daily inside bar. Same thing, 4-hour time frame, need the higher low to be set, EMA 12 resistance. How far are we above our low? Got 12% of space to work with, so in the middle of LT or the middle of ETH and BTC. And again, just looking for the bulls to regain control, get over the EMA 12 resistance, and then we zoom out and scout a daily lower high. Pretty much these inside bars that are likely to form in 5.5 hours need to break bullish tomorrow for the 4-hour trend changes and for us to zoom out and scout daily lower highs. LTC, BTC still all bears. No follow through, weekly lower highs consistent, and we're right down back to our many month low. So bulls just not proving it as far as keeping up with the big boys. Link USD, daily inside bar, way above our low. So we have 27% of space to work with. 4-hour, higher low already set. You can say we changed the 4-hour trend bullish already. That's very notable. Higher low is now 26.33, key support. We broke resistance of 28.87. So now we're going to zoom out and scout a daily lower high, anything under 36.92, the all-time high, if this inside bar breaks bullish. Definitely a more significant bounce. And again, without even looking, I know the Link BTC chart has been bullish the last 24 hours. It's got an oversold bounce going as well, and we're watching for a daily lower high. Best case scenario for the alt bulls is if Bitcoin sets a daily higher low and higher high, looking back to the all-time high, and the BTC pairings change their daily trends as well. Binance, looking for a daily higher low, and it looks to be set. Have we confirmed the 4-hour trend change? Not yet. So low of 186, high of the bounce of 281, massive bounce. And now we're looking for a 4-hour higher low compared to 186.10. Plenty of space for that 4-hour higher low to form. If we confirm the 4-hour trend change, we zoom out and we scout a daily lower high, anything under 349. And again, because things are correlating so significantly, we are looking for the same things on many individual names. Binance BTC, still in a daily uptrend as well, which is keeping the Binance bulls favorable as long as that is the case. ADA USDT, also still in a daily uptrend. And holding the daily EMA 12 is very impressive. Again, 4-hour time frame, we had a little bit of a wick down. We don't have a clear 4-hour trend change here. I don't have a ton of clarity on this time frame. So you can play around and zoom out to the 6-hour, and it's just a high, lower low. Anything under 114 or 115 is just a lower high. Then we would look for a higher low compared to 81. So I like the 6-hour time frame for a little bit better clarity. But this inside bar, if it were to break bullish, we are right back there at that all-time high, and certainly holding stronger than many other coins. And look at this Bitcoin pairing. It's on the verge of a bull break, which would obviously be very notable as well. If that were to take place, if this Bitcoin pairing breaks bullish, ADA USDT is the closest to being right back to its all-time high. So definitely still standing out strong. And we didn't even start weekly consolidation here, whereas most other coins did. So that's what we need for the bulls to prove themselves. 4-hour trend changes and inside bar bull breaks, step number 1. So the trades that I've been taking on ETH, I've been very pleased with how I've been trading. It's gone really well and scaled into the initial drop on ETH. And I think last time we checked in, I was talking about scaling out for the 4-hour lower high, which I did. I then went to bed, and I'm glad I went to bed because I would have started scaling in too early, anticipating a 4-hour higher low. And because I went to bed, I woke up at 3 a.m. just on my own naturally, and we were right near the lows. So I started to make an initial entry in the low 1500s, and then I just scaled in 1400s, 1300s. I was doing a couple little short-term flips to remain in control, and I ended up with a core position fairly high because, again, I was doing flips because I knew I was about to go right back to sleep, but my core position was maybe 1470s or 1480s, which, again, was not near that 1356 low, but you can see we bounced to 1700, so it was obviously a very nice entry. And I just scaled out again, exited everything last night a little bit early, definitely left some money on the table, but that's now 2 very successful bounce plays, and now I am patiently waiting for another entry here for a 4-hour higher low. I would much rather buy into pullbacks, playing off support, than on resistance breaks. Why? Because if we change the 4-hour trend and I buy that resistance break, there's a possibility that that's just going to be right into our daily lower high and we don't see a whole lot of follow through. So I need to protect against that possibility and have a better risk to reward entry by entering on consolidation. If I want to be an aggressive bull, I'm going to enter playing off of 1590 support here and hope that this is a 4-hour bull flag. If I want to be more patient, then I'm going to be waiting for an entry in the mid 1500s, but it might mean I miss it. And if I were to miss it, I would not feel any FOMO. I would patiently wait for daily lower highs to be the most likely scenario, and I would patiently wait to then enter on daily higher lows, scaling in and playing off of 1356, our recent low. So have not fully decided what I'm going to do. I know that I'm going to be out of the house here in a couple hours, and I'm going to be gone for a few hours, so I'll probably take the patient route and just see how this 4-hour time frame shakes out. And again, my account's at all-time highs right now because of my all-cash strategy. Left money on the table on the way up, but had all cash to be playing these bounces. And again, just loving the steps forward to keep my account going at all-time highs, avoid any pullbacks. In some instances, I definitely leave money on the table. But again, my number 1 goal is protecting profit. Number 2 goal is adding to that profit as I am able, and leaving money on the table is part of that. And again, it's just an insane start to 2021, where just smashing all goals, and when I smash my goals, I lock in those gains to not give them back. So we'll see what we get over the next 24 hours. 4-hour trend change, daily lower highs, keeping an eye on QQQ as we scout QQQ for a daily lower high to be the most likely scenario as far as a result of this bounce. We're testing the high of yesterday right now. But again, look at this drop and bounce. Look at how much space we have for the daily lower high to form. Correlations. Have a good day. Do good things. We'll check in soon.